Hello, wholeness loves. Been a minute since I was in here with you all. Happy Venus Day. Hello, Goddess Energy. Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Awesome. So we'll just give a few more seconds to get you guys in. Hello, Instagram. Hey, YouTube. Happy Venus Day. This is a beautiful day. It's Friday. Yes, come on in. Awesome. Alrighty, let's go on and get started, guys. Hi, good morning, Grand Rising. This is Tahiri Divine, also known as Diana the Metaphysical Midwife. You can find me on all my social sites as Tahiri Divine, where we are the student and the teacher, where we are here to share and uplift for the embetterment of ourselves. And that is in our physical bodies, our mental, our health, our wellness, spiritual, financial, all of that. We are here for the freeing of our minds and for the transcendence of all those areas in our lives so that we can live our best life while we are here on this earth, right? Well, let's get into today. So today is day 14 on our power of prayer. Can you guys believe it? We're halfway there, almost halfway through this series. And today we're talking about love. Today, power of prayer as it pertains to love. Hey, Raven, I see you. Hey. So yes. So, this is an interesting conversation for myself because I deal with this, the concept and idea of love, right? Typically, when we think of love, we typically or may start off thinking about romantic stuff like flowers and candies and dates and walks in the park and butterflies in the stomach. We typically like to put love in the category of this idea of romance, this idea of what a man should do, and this idea of what a woman should do, or how a man should be, how a woman should be, or how our significant other is to be for us, right? And I want to challenge that ideology or the way we perceive love, and not limiting the idea or the concept of love as just a romantic or outward expression that you have for another person. What typically with my own personal experience, that's the only teacher I can use is my own experience, right? Is that a lot of us have a misconstrued concept of what we think love is. And that could be based on how we grew up, how our parents or the adults around us when we were in our informative years, how they exemplified love or what they said love to be. And so we adopt these ideas, or through, media, television, books, movies, music, we adopt a concept of what we believe love to be. And so when we're going out into the world, we are looking for this ideal concept of love. We are looking for our partners to be either the father we didn't have, or the mother we didn't have, or what we perceive a mother to be, what we perceive a woman to be, right? Or a man to be. And so we have these projections of what we want the partner to be, or if we could just be with this particular person, I will be happy. And whatever the happiness, our ideal of what happiness is supposed to look like. Today, I need real love as a Black man. I'm going to court. Okay, well, much love and power to you. And I hope everything works out in your favor. So when it comes to love, right, I really want to dive into this conversation as far as trauma bonding. Sometimes, a lot of times, we believe that the bonds that we make with people through our traumas or our attachment styles, remember we talked about attachment styles, we equate that to love. And then when our relationships don't pan out the way we expected, or the person doesn't live up to what we perceive for them to be, we get devastated and we go through these heartaches and heartbreaks and makeups and breakups. And what I like this conversation today to be about, let's unpack our ideology of what we think love is to be. For myself, what I have come to understand about love is that no one can love us the way we want to be loved until we love ourselves. And that is including our parents, that's including our children, other people, spouses, friends, any people that we allow and to express love with, we have to recognize that really love starts with the inside. It starts with self. And having that maternal love or that paternal love, that love from your father or your mother, recognizing that although your parents may not give you the type of love you needed, it is up to you as a conscious living adult now to love yourself the way you would have wanted to be mothered, or to love yourself the way you would have wanted to be fathered. That our parents are only limited in their experiences and what that they're willing to be open to and give. They can only give what they know. And so that is a new way of applying this concept of love, especially when it comes to self-love. That really is what self-love is. I love myself the way I wish I would have been mothered, or I wish I would have been fathered, or I love myself the way I wish a partner would have loved me. Because again, we teach people how to love us, especially when it comes to conscious relationships and friendships, the ones that we choose to have versus ones that are in by proximity. So with that being said, unpacking love for self and recognizing that love is not just a verb, not just a word, but it's a verb, it's an action. And we learn how to express love through the way we communicate, through the way we interact with not just other people, but the way we communicate and interact with ourselves. That's the basis of where love begins and starts. Love is a tree to me. You don't see it going nowhere, asking other living things to love me, right? A tree know it is love itself, and that's me and my. Yeah, that's perfect. That's a really good perspective to have. Yeah, love is just that. Love just is. Um, that's what's really important to understand, especially when it comes to relationships, right? The people that we attract. That we recognize that love, if we really want to be honest about love, is that it's allowing people to be who they are and allowing yourself to be who you are. I think sometimes because we have been mistreated and miseducated by parents and others, we redefine what love is. Yeah. And yeah, we make a definitions of love based on what we grew up and experienced, right? Some people believe that love means that I need to be needed. If I don't need you or you don't need me, then there's no love here. Um, or we may think that abuse, whatever form of abuse it comes in, physical, emotional, financial, verbal, whatever type of abuse that we experience, we sometimes may equate that that's love. Well, if this person's not putting me through some type of hell, it must not be love. It has to be love, right? So we definitely get these misconstrued ideals of love. That's codependency, exactly. A lot of us have developed codependency behaviors and equate that to love. Or this happens a lot of times too. We take on a maternal or paternal aspect in our relationship to be like the father to this person or be like a mother to this person. And it's like, wow, am I your woman or am I your mother? And we, again, building these relationships out of codependencies, out of traumas, out of miscommunication. A lot of times we project what we expect a person to be versus seeing them for who they are. We want to try to change them. We want to try to mold them and shape them into our idea of what a man or my man's going to be or what my woman is. And we limit and try to box people and ourselves into these titles and into these ideals of what we perceive love to be. When love starts with self, and it sounds cliche, it sounds like, oh, whatever we want to try to label it as, love starts from the inside out. We won't be able to experience love until we truly have it from the inside, and learning to love ourselves, learning to appreciate and take time with ourselves and be that lover for self is a journey in itself. And it's a beautiful journey because once you truly do that, that's when you'll start to attract people who are now just going to affirm the love that you already have for yourself. But I always wonder, since there is different ways to look at love, what are the real ingredients to making love? Is it when you love a person even though they don't have intelligent bone in their body? No, this is my perspective. I think love just is. For example, I can only give examples in my relationships. The best relationships that I have been in have been the ones where I respected who I was and just was me regardless. And I respected the person who they were and allowed them to be without wanting them to change. Even if there was something about them in particular that I may didn't necessarily care for or didn't like, and vice versa, having the respect to be in harmony with them just being who they are and me being myself. That was to me some of the best successful relationships I've had, when neither one of us tried to change each other, when we just really liked each other the way they were. Even with the things we may not care for, we know we respected each other's boundaries and respected each other's perspectives. And I think that is a mature way to handle love, is that you're not here to change a person. And also, love is also recognizing that this person being who they are is best for them, but may not be best for me. And me being who I am is best for me, may not be best for this person. However, because I love me enough and I love you enough, I love you enough to let you go. And I love me enough to be who I am, and vice versa. That to me is a real radical act of love. Let me see what you guys are saying. Peace. Bad relationships could lead you to the dark night of the soul, which should be a great thing in the end. Exactly. And that's why I said the relationships that we attract are never going to be everything, no matter what in life, everything's for your good, if you want to call it that. Even the bad that we experience, it leads us to another level of elevation, another level of insight, another level of our growth. I was watching a Red Table Talk yesterday, an old one with Will and Jada on it, when they were talking about their relationship. So this is like a table talk they did back in like 2018. And it gave perspective to the recent one that they did, as far as them understanding their concept of love, and how Will and Jada, how they were on two different programs when it came to love. Will's concept of love was trying to create this idea of a family, what he wanted Jada to be and what he wanted his children to be, and how he kept projecting his idea of what a perfect family looks like. He was projecting that onto his wife and children, so much so that it wasn't that the things that he wanted to do, these expressive and outward things that he wanted to do, was overpowering who his family was, who they were, just in the true essence of who they were. And then Jada shared with herself, her concept of love is like, if I'm not needed, then there is no love. So these people both came with broken ideologies or broken perspectives of love, trying to form this idea and concept on each other, or project on each other what they perceive love to be. And it made me think, wow, how many times do we do that in our lives? Taking away Will and Jada from the conversation, just seeing how everyday relationships, how we project, and we're coming into relationships broken, expecting that this person will be my happiness, or if this person is like this, or if I'm like that, I'll finally get the happy and the love that I'm so longing and desiring for, when all that love and that desiring that we truly need is the love and desire that we have for ourselves. Right? Let's see what you guys are saying. Love is like light. It's supposed to shine in all the dark areas of your life. Yeah. All external relationships seem to ultimately bring you back to yourself. That part. Yes, ma'am, Miss B Caramel Delight. That's correct. All our relationships, no matter if they're partners of romance or just friendship or business, whatever, everything always leads us back to ourselves, because at the end and the beginning of every relationship, who is the common denominator? yourself. So when we take audit of our past relationships, it's like, okay, the common denominator has always been me. I attracted this person, and what was the reason I attracted this person? And a really good exercise to do if you guys really want to unpack your love story or your love language or your love of self is to make a list of every person that you may have loved or was in love with, or however you want to perceive it, and write out what was the factor besides yourself. What was something about this person that you was attracted to? And within that attraction, was it something that you felt that you lacked in yourself? Or was it something, what was it? Like, do an audit within yourself. What was it about this particular person that you attracted and that you liked about them? And then also, what was something negative about them that you learned from that person? And vice versa, if you feel like they learned anything from you. And within that, we can really kind of unpack our cycles and our patterns when it comes to our relationships, and it gives better perspective of, okay, this is what I was attracted to. I attracted the same type of person, right? Or the same type of energy signature. I give my example. I would attract people who were very controlling and manipulative. And that's because I was out of control and manipulating myself. I was like, wow, I was attracting these type of people because me myself did not want to take accountability and the leadership that I thought I couldn't do for me. I thought this person could lead me, or the perceptions I wanted to believe about this person or project on this person because I was lying and manipulating myself. In my perspective, no one is the common denominator. We're all magnets. In my perspective, we both attract negative and positive in our life. Exactly, yeah. I'm just saying, as far as relationships are concerned, every relationship that was a success or a failure, whatever you perceive it to be, the common denominator is always yourself. It was always yourself. Like, okay, I was the common denominator in all my relationships. So what is it about me in these relationships? And what is it about these people I was in relationships with that is my pattern or my cycle? That's more so the concept I was coming from. But I definitely understand what you're saying. Great day, Queen. Caught you again. Sending love. Oh, thank you. Ari Azuli. Thank you. Or Ariel. Is it Ariel Azuli? I hope I said your name right, love. Yes, I see you goddess energy. Yes, and exactly. Like, that is just a wonderful practice to do, is to like really narrow down when we're understanding our own personal concept of love. So communication is always key when it comes to relationships or love in general. Love is communication. There is this book, and I saw a website. You guys can go on the website and do like the little quiz to find out your love language. So there's supposedly 5 love languages, and knowing your own love language is so important. And then also taking time to know your partner's love language is a way to really have a basis understanding of how people communicate love. Or through astrology, I usually typically look at somebody's moon and Venus sign to understand what is their love language, and their Mars. So their moon, Venus, and Mars is typically the planets. If you want to look into somebody's astrology and see, okay, what is this person's love language? What is this person's ideologies and beliefs and attraction level when it comes to love? And seeing, is that compatible with you? And then even if it's not compatible, how can you be in harmony with this person, although they may be more fire and you're maybe a little more water or air, or despite whether resonance you have? All these elementals work in harmony with each other. It's just learning to be in harmony. And that's really what relationships are about. Being in a relationship is really about self. Who are you in your relationship, and who are you outside of the relationship? Being who you are and allowing yourself to be, they use the word compromise, but it's not so much compromise, how to find harmony in a relationship. That's really what it is. It's harmonizing yourself. It's like making music. How do we make beautiful music together? Or are we like clashing cymbals? And if we can't find a basis of harmonies to stand within, maybe it's best for us to go our separate ways. And you find your symphony and I do mine. And that's still love. That's love to the point that I love somebody enough that I allow them to be who they are. And I don't want to change you, and vice versa. You're the one consistent variable or factor in all your exactly. We are the factors. Well, remember how people used to go like, oh, you a non-factor from the Basketball Wives? That was like the big quote. Oh, you are a non-effing factor. Yeah, we are the main factors in every experience in our life. We are the main factor. And because our experiences, we're going to experience what we believe, our subconscious mind believes. We're going to experience what we say about ourselves. We experience our level of faith in our life. We experience our level of maturity, emotional maturity, all that. We only going to experience what we are open to and what we perceive that we can have. What you're feeding yourself and your experience inwardly is what you will in essence experience outwardly. Exactly. That part right there. Exactly. We can only experience what we attract. Honestly, what we attract is what we experience and is what we are. And if we don't like what we're attracting, then that's where that self audit comes into play, and self awareness comes into play. So, like, okay, I'm aware that I have a cycle of attracting manipulative, controlling people. Well, let me clean some things within my own inward experience so that I am now no longer attracting that, because I'm no longer emitting that type of energy saying I need somebody to control me because I'm not willing to control myself, or I need someone to take control, or whatever it is that you find for yourself. That's where we start at. But always wonder, is love private property? A person see love as marriage and puts value on themselves by wanting a ring. One man draws having one man kids. Is love private property? Yeah, and that's for us to unpack. A lot of times, this is interesting when it comes to this concept of love, that there's no such thing as ownership in love. Like, to love something is not to want to own it. And an example of this is when we see a flower, right? If you see a beautiful flower in the garden, our instinct maybe wanted to pluck that flower and keep it for ourselves, right? Because it's so beautiful. And yes, it's in its natural habitat. It's doing what it's doing. It's getting the sun, it's getting the dirt, it's getting its water, and it's just shining and living its best life, right? And we see it. And so we want to pluck this thing and hold on to it because we believe, and somewhere in our mind, we believe if I was to pluck this thing from its root, from its ground, cut it off from its source, that I can hold on to this, right? I can hold on to this. It could be mine. And what happens to that flower? That flower is eventually going to wilter away and die. So with this concept of idea of love, when we try to take something, pluck it up and want to hoard it for ourselves, anything that we hoard dies. And when we try to hoard love, whether it's through marriage, and I'm not against marriage, I'm really for it, but like, again, sometimes we equate love as owning something. I own you because we're in this marital contract, or I own you because I birthed you as I'm your parent, or I own you because you're my woman, you're my man, you don't belong to nobody but me. And what we do, we start to wring the life out of stuff. We start to put these Saturn rings, these limitations on people based on our perception of what we think love is. And that can really cause the friction in our relationships because we are trying to hold on to something that doesn't need to be held on to. It needs to be admired in its beauty and in its oneness with itself. And we are the same way. We need to be admired in our beauty and oneness ourselves. And anytime somebody tries to grip us or hold us down, that's when the fight starts to take place, and then the ripples in the relationship starts to take off, in my perspective. Mind, idea, manifestation. That's why it's important to know thyself. Exactly. Knowing yourself is going to be great. Deep. Anything we hoard dies. That's exactly right. Anything we hoard, it dies. It dies. So can a man cheat and love a woman the way people love God and still sin? That's a good question. I'm going to get to that. That's the basis of legal marriage, which is not the same as love. So can a man cheat on a woman and still love her the way people love God and still sin? Okay, cheating. Let's talk about cheating. This is a good one. Can anybody really cheat on you? Like, can anybody truly cheat on you? Because if we are saying that love is not hoarding, love is not you're mine and you belong to me, then is there such thing as cheating? Now this is where things get deep, and it's about shifting perspective. We don't own people. We don't. And I know in our society we may have a concept of what relationships are supposed to be, like relationship goals or societal pressures on what a relationship is supposed to be. But when we really think about the basics of love is allowing something to be what it is and you be what you are and not trying to change it, no one can cheat on you and you can't cheat on anybody. If we have that understanding of what love is, you can break a vow, break a covenant or a vow, though. Yeah, that's different. Now, if one makes a vow or a covenant with you, a covenant is a vow or a deep commitment, right? That is different as far as this concept of cheating. But then, just where things go deeper, what vow is more important? The vow to yourself and your life purpose and your life experiences, or a vow you made to another person? That's where things get really interesting now. Because even with the vows and commitments or covenants we make with people, the only real true covenant is the one that you made to yourself. Because when somebody cheats, let's talk about this cheating thing. When somebody cheats on you, nobody can do to you what you haven't already done to yourself. So, if you are experiencing a partner cheating on you, then take audit of how you cheated yourself. Because anything that we experience externally has already happened internally. Somewhere within yourself, you cheated yourself. Thus forth, it's going to manifest, and it can manifest through a partner. And that's a tough pill to take in. It's like, whoa, you know, how is it that I am being cheated on, or how is it that I cheated myself? But we cheat ourselves when we don't stick to our commitments to ourselves. We cheat on ourselves when we don't stick to our our intuition. We don't trust it. We cheat ourselves when we don't view people who they are, because people always tell us who they are. Sometimes we get caught up in our perception of what we want a person to be. But people are always going to be who they are. Judge a thing by its fruit, not by what you perceive it to be. To yourself first and foremost. Yeah, back in the day, my grandma told me before there was a Maury or paternity test, women slept with different men and men slept with different women, and the women told all the kids to call the men uncles. Yeah, that's another. Yeah. In the ancient days, particularly before we were in a patriarchal system, in the more matriarchal days, the paternity of a father wasn't, I'm not going to say it wasn't important, but it was more of a community kind of communal kind of environment. So this was everybody's child. This was everybody, like everybody knew who the mother would be, of course. But when it came to the father, all the men of the tribe or of the collective helped raise this child. So yes, and that's what we get the concept. It takes a village to raise a children. Yes, and so that is necessarily true. And I'm not here to redefine marriage or relationships for anybody, but I just want us to really kind of take in perspective and think, what does this mean to own someone or be in a relationship with someone? What does that mean for you and that person? If it's an agreement to you that you guys choose to be monogamous to each other, that's your agreement. But even then, know that a person's penis and a person's vagina and whatever other parts that they have belongs to them. And they're going to do with their business as they please. Vice versa, you do with your business as you please. And that has nothing to do with the other person. So when a person is cheating, that has nothing to do with you, the person that got cheated on. that has nothing to do with you, that has everything to do with them and their level of what they feel they need it for themselves, or what you may feel you need it for yourself. So at this, we have to get to a place of, um, don't misconstrue this saying that we're accepting people being throwing their stuff around. I'm not saying that, but what are you willing to recognize in yourself, and what are you willing to recognize in other people, and what is your level of acceptance? Because love is acceptance, but what do you accept? Just because love is acceptance doesn't mean you accept everything. Love is accepting to walk away too. There's things you can walk away from. So that's just, again, to unpack our own concepts of love and what love is for ourselves. How do we express love to ourselves? How do we engage in love with other people? Are we projecting love or our concept and ideal of love? Or are we allowing the person and ourselves to be in clear flow of what our love is, right? Patriarchy gave one man ownership over his wife and their offspring, as well as their sole responsibility for them. Yeah, that's why it's husbandry is about bounding the house. That was the husband or the man's job. And a lot of men are unable to do that because of the responsibility it is to own a woman or take care of a woman and children. There's just some men who can't live up to that expectation, and they start to question their manhood since they're not able to, for whatever reason, to live up to that. Or a woman may question her womanhood because she's not able to live up to some ideal of being a Betty homemaker, or she doesn't want to have children. And all of a sudden now her lovability is questioned. Oh, if she doesn't give me children, is she possible to love? Or, so we have to really unpack with ourselves what is love for ourselves, because if not, we can really get into situations that are completely derail us off our path. And just our life experiences too can really derail our life experiences. But maybe that's what you should do, redefine what love is. Maybe to many people, been reciprocating love too much. I think you should define what love is, because the world is educated and conditioned by evil, tricky people. Exactly. So we have to really, really sit with yourself and define what is love for you. What is love? And to vibrate at that level of love. And even if someone can't love you the way you love, know that's okay too. Doesn't mean you have to continue to keep this person as an intimate partner, but recognize everybody has a level of understanding of love. And when you are in this love frequency for yourself, you have more compassion and harmony and empathy for other people. Doesn't mean you take people's BS now, but you can have more empathy and compassion to know that we're all broken people attempting to mend the pieces back together and define and live out our experience of love. Yes, it's actually oppressive to them when they can't provide. Exactly. When men are not, for whatever reason, and if they're not performing or doing the way they perceive that a man should be, they start to question themselves and their love or their ability to love or be loved. I've seen it in my own life with some of the men in my family of if they're not doing something a particular way, then they really have a battle within themselves. Are they living up to the ideals of manhood? Nowadays, the women psychologically act and function like a man in society, and the men function, act like a woman. Yeah, it is I agree with that. There is this switching of roles that has taken place with women. Women are in more masculine energy, as the men are naturally will fall into a more feminine energy, which is nothing wrong with being masculine or feminine if you're male or female. But I would question ourselves, how is this beneficial for us when it comes to relationships? Me as a woman, I know me, I'm more prone to more masculine. The way I express myself can be more masculine. And so I'm aware of that. Okay, how is that benefiting me in my relationships? Which is important for me to have that aspect of myself. But I know for me, I'm attracted to a more masculine type of man. But then what is masculinity? Is masculinity this puffed up, buff kind of energy? No, but I do like leadership, take charge, creative ideals. I do like that in a man. So therefore, I recognize that's something in me that I already have, and I like to attract that out of a person or a partner, right? And so even when it comes to my feminine nature, I like to be with somebody who is going to be open to talk, because talking could be more feminine. So who is open to share ideas and communicate. So that is a feminine quality of mine that I like to attract into a partner, somebody who's open to communication, because communication rules the nation, if you ask me. The concept of relationship is being reconstructed versus what we grew up believing in. Exactly. And when I was watching that Red Talk with Red Table Talk with Will and Jada, that old one they had, and their recent one, again, they defined what their relationship was for them. And I think that's beautiful. Like, nobody's saying that has to be relationship goals, but you have to define your own relationship goals for yourself and stop making people and celebrities who are just broken people with money are our ideal of what, yeah, this is real love. I want that Beyonce, Jay-Z love. I want that Will and Jada love, not knowing that that Will and Jada love was full of depression and projections. So we want to be cognizant of what it is that we need in our relationships and in our life versus of what we see other people do. Now, there's other things that we may see that people do that we can learn vicariously through, like, okay, that's something that may work for me, or say something, you know what, that's something that does not work for me. You know, not everybody wants to be in a non-monogamous relationship, and that's okay. That's fair. I know I don't want to be in a non-monogamous relationship, but again, it's about putting in what we want back, and attracting that and saying yes to that. In the Bible, it says, if a man thinks of himself as anything, he is nothing. Yeah, you know, yes, that's an interesting word right there. Anything and no thing. Yeah. As a man thinketh, so is he. Where the mind goes, the energy is going to follow. So wherever you think yourself be, your energy is going to follow that. I think of us learning to be more fluid in our expressions of energies as they are needed and would be helpful. Exactly. That's exactly. So as far as our masculine, feminine energy, knowing to express it and be fluid within that. So, okay, there's a time for me to be masculine. There's a time to be feminine, right? But being an ebb and flow of both sides of ourselves. Love to me is putting myself first and making sure I feel good. Exactly. I am on that one with you too, E Queen. Love for me is the same thing. If I'm not, people call it selfish, but I think it's when you're full of yourself, you're able to be given back to other people, because if you're filling your own cup first, you give the overflow to everybody else. And that's my perspective of love. If I'm not allowing myself to be who I am in the fullness of myself, and if I have to cap off anything of myself to be with you, then to me, I don't have love, because your love for yourself and the way you feel about yourself, I shouldn't put that over my love for myself, and vice versa. I can find, and we both can find, harmony in our relationship. But for me to put you above me and vice versa, I think that's where relationships get tricky, and we can fall into the trap of not expressing who we truly are, and fall into the trap of performing versus just being. The word love, what does it really mean? And what do you get when you find someone you love? I think you find someone you love when you find love for yourself first. If sisters are more masculine than men, got to be 3 times more masculine, then men got to be 3 times more masculine. Yeah, not necessarily. I think with women and with men, I think men should tap it more into their feminine side as far as being expressive in their emotions, being comfortable in that. And I believe women should learn to be more assertive in what it is that they want, instead of this passive aggressiveness that we as women typically do. So I don't think it's anything wrong with switching between, or like being fluid between the two. Men need to be tapped into their emotional nature just as much as women need to be tapped into their more logical nature. That's where I think the shifting of the tide is happening. That women are gaining a little more of their logic mind, and men are tapping more into their emotional body, which will make us both better humans. when we're both in our emotional and our logical bodies, when we allow them to merge together instead of suppressing the other. Oh, I'm a woman, so I'm going to suppress my logical mind. Or I'm a man, I'm going to suppress my emotions, when that does more harm than good. And that's what I believe creates toxic femininity and toxic masculinity, because we're not expressing the fullness expression of ourselves, our masculine and feminine side, and not allowing the others to fully express themselves. And women, this is where I say women, we don't necessarily allow men to express themselves emotionally. And as much as we say, oh, I want him to say how he truly feels, I want him to be expressive, like when they do, typically we try to shut them off, or we cape them, we put on a cape to try to cape their feelings. As far as example of this, and I could actually mention this on Facebook. Kev on Stage, the comedian, it was like his podcast show that he has with the lady Angel. And it was the episode he was making, he was having a reflective moment about the jokes that he made about Megan Thee Stallion. And he was having this really kind of like open dialogue, about how he had to realize how he played into the narrative that Black men don't protect Black women. And he said, you know what, he was going through his own reflective side. And what Angel did, which a lot of us do, so this wasn't to attack her, what she did, she tried to cape his feelings, as far as like put on the cape, like, oh, you don't have to feel that way. What you did was wrong. It wasn't all that. Or, trying to not to I don't know, as women, I don't think we can always handle sometimes when men are reflective and in their emotional selves. And sometimes being emotional doesn't mean you're boohoo crying, although that may happen too. But he was being very open and receptive. And she kind of caped that or cut that off because I think it was uncomfortable for her. And for a lot of times, I think women do this to men. We get uncomfortable with men being expressive with their emotions and allowing them to feel it. Even if we don't agree with how they feel, we have to allow them to feel and express that just as much as we want them to allow us to feel and express that. Divine marriage must occur within before it occurs outside of yourself. That part, that whole part. Yes, ma'am. That is exactly the divine marriage. The twin flame is the twin flame of yourself. It has nothing to do with attracting another person. You are your own twin flame. You are putting back together your feminine and masculine self. What if love never existed? What if we never existed? What if it was all just temporary conscious illusion? A delusion within an illusion. Just think, who's out here really made just for you? That's an interesting way to look at it. That's a very interesting way to look at it. Women and men need to find the balance between the feminine and masculine energies. It's about balance. Yes, that part. Okay, that part. All right, guys, it's getting a little long, and I know Instagram be real whack and want us to cut us off. But this topic today, we're talking about love, the power of prayer, and building up our love for ourselves. And that is the love of your, loving your body, loving your environment, loving your emotional nature, your mind, your spirit, your practice, your belief system, having so much love for yourself that nothing can derail you from that. Not a pretty face, not a good looking, not a number on a checkbook. None of that stuff can derail you from the love you have for yourself when you stand firm on that. And that's something that we all are in a journey of loving ourselves first. Okay. Right. But a significant other can't be. Right. I'm not sure if I know what you were trying to say on that one. Maybe you were following up on the last thing you wrote. But yes, this is a great live. Oh, thank you. Yes. Burnett Stanley. Thank you. Yes. But all right, ladies and gents, thank you guys for tuning in and rocking with me today on the Power of Prayer. We'll be back on Monday, same time, same place, Monday through Friday. We are doing the Power of Prayer series, 30 days, and we are already halfway through it, working on halfway through it. I'm so happy to be here with you guys and sharing this message. And remember, love starts with self, and our experiences will definitely affirm our love factor. Are you going to do more videos on leadership? Yeah. I have a lot more videos coming up on leadership, and it's I have a lot of content that's coming up. I'm taking my time with these recorded videos because I like lives too, but sometimes when I do a recorded video, I like to have my thought process already written out so that I can I mean, I like to be in flow, but I like to have something, you know, boom, A, B, C, and that's how it works. But okay, ladies and gents, we coming out with some more content. Thank you guys for tuning in and rocking with me today. You can find me on all my social sites as Tahiri Divine. And until next time, appreciate the series. Thank you. What's your Cash App? Oh, that's what's up. Yeah, my Cash App is Tahiri D9. I'll put that in the chat for you guys. That's what's up. Let me see how I write my name. Oh Lord, if I know how to spell today. Tahiri D9 is the Cash App. Thank you guys. Well, all right, guys. Love and peace and be with you guys until next time. I'm going to start saying that at the end of your live. P-E-Z. Okay, I like that. I can rock with that. Money right official. All right, ladies and gents. Thank you guys for all the love and rock with me today. Until next time. Peace.